Since 2008, I've run over 5,000 events and hosted well over 1 million people. This podcast is for event planners and marketers and the industry's brightest minds. My name is Nick Field, and this is the Professional Partier Podcast. You can follow me at Nicholas John Field on all your major social networks. In this episode, we meet with Scottie Godino. Scottie is the founder of Born and Raised, a group of bars and restaurants in the Las Vegas Valley that have grown substantially over the last several years. Scottie talks about what it takes to make his bars and restaurants successful, the emphasis that he puts on the quality of food, and creating relationships with the community. We talk about promotions and the importance of social media when promoting your bar. If you're looking to have your bar, restaurant, or nightclub accepted by the local community, this is the episode for you. If you find this interesting, the only way for this show to grow is by you subscribing and leaving us a good rating. So if you find this helpful, please do subscribe, rate us, and forward this to a friend who may be interested. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Hey, I'm Nick. Welcome to the Professional Partier Podcast. Hey, what's up? I'm Nick. Welcome to the Professional Partier Podcast. Please do subscribe and like and give us 5-star ratings and all that good stuff because it helps us get the reach out to more people. So I'm here today with my guest, Scottie Godino, who is the owner of Born and Raised, which is a chain of bars throughout the Las Vegas Valley. Welcome, brother. How's it going?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cool.
It's cool to be here.
Yeah. This is the bar that I launched 14, 15 months ago, and it's a good vibe in here. I like it.
It's really cool. I loved the name, and I know the backstory of it, but really appreciated the name and can relate to it in a theoretical sense.
Yeah, right. So tell me, like, what do you do, man? Like, what's your talk about what you do, like on a daily basis in your businesses and how you kind of like, you know, your vibe and stuff.
We are opening our 4th location currently. It's about 4 weeks out. That will be our 2nd in 12 months, which has been incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
We didn't plan it that way. The one that we're opening now, we signed in 2019.
Yeah.
Then COVID tabled it. So in that meantime, we did another deal, built that one. And then when we were close to completing that, the other one came on board, so we had to double back pretty quickly.
That's what is where are they?
The first is at Warm Springs in Cimarron, Southwest.
Yep.
It's Born and Raised Las Vegas. Second's at Henderson, St. Rose, and Eastern.
Yep.
Third is in North Las Vegas, Craig, and fifth, just west of Losi. And our 4th is at Centennial and Durango, or North Durango and 215.
Yep.
Really cool, big patio, 1,800-foot patio.
Nice.
But yeah, my responsibility is the growth of our company and the direction and executing the vision, and leading our execs and managers and making sure that we have the tools to succeed.
What's the concept of the bar for those that don't know, and like what is it?
Well, I was born and raised in Vegas.
Yeah.
I got to see what Vegas was, what it was built on. My grandfather ran Del Webb's casinos, and I got to go around and seeing what that was like. And that was when customer service was at the forefront. They knew your name, your drink, what you ate, your backstory from top to bottom, employees included.
Yeah.
And I always loved it and loved the hospitality industry and the hosting of it and creating experiences that people enjoy and get to look back on. So I always had the intentions of getting into it and wanted to bring back what Vegas was built on when it was kind of lost and wasn't really relevant in the locals market. So in 2010, after traveling for a couple of years, creating the concept and wanting to bring from other markets what was cool there into one place here, with customer service at the forefront. Found a space and created the concept, and the difference was the lounge area was usable, and we had a 16 TV wall with booths that were comfortable, that were built by those that build the ones in the clubs, and we could have stilettos on them or basketball shorts sitting there. The focus was service and scratch food and creating experiences, not just serving frozen food and trying to get out of what's in your pocket. It was creating what people deserved and what Vegas was truly built on.
I've been to Born and Raised a bunch of times. Solid food.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a priority. And that's the thing, is that really the corporate side spilled into the locals market, and it was just about the bottom line. But you do the right thing will come back to you. And that was really the goal, is creating those experiences by serving scratch food, by making our own dressings, by baking our own buns. People understand that. They feel it. Yes.
There you go.
Grind our own meat, make our desserts. I mean, it was very important to us to put out the product that we were proud of, that we wanted to place our footprint in the community of what people really deserve, and showing other operators that it's possible. It's okay to look past just frozen food.
Yeah, you don't have to serve crap.
Yes.
To people just to make a couple bucks.
Yes.
Yeah. So you came up with the concept of Born and Raised.
Yeah. A buddy of mine talked about wanting to get a tattoo called the tattoo Born and Raised. When we were kids, and when we were growing up, I actually got the tattoo.
Oh, nice.
That's when I started thinking about the concept. And yeah, it was Born and Raised in Vegas, wanting to mimic kind of what the Hard Rock did nationally, and one in every major market, with the brick and mortar and the apparel and that kind of phenomenon of wanting to be a part of something. So we have a national trademark, and with Ryan Guile, and have since 2008.
Yeah.
And plan to expand in those markets and have whomever is born and raised in that market be the face.
Nice. Are you franchising?
That's something that we've talked about, but we want to do it ourselves right now, but open to certainly anything.
Aren't there more Born and Raised than 4?
We had the one on Strip that we closed in COVID.
Oh, it's closed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a fun experience. Our rent for 1,000 feet was $30,000 a month.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And it was in the
that was the Strip.
Grand Bazaar.
That was the Grand Bazaar. Oh yeah. Sorry. Oh, I have a rent in Grand Bazaar.
You do have a rent.
I know. Yeah. That's it.
Has it gotten any better down there?
No, it's gotten worse, because at Grand Bazaar they're constructing a what's that?
Blake
Shelton's place, right? And so the whole front is a construction site.
Worse than it was.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, it sort of like filters people kind of in a little bit, but it's kind of like a bottleneck, and like it's weird. But Dirt Dog expanded their footprint over there, and Dirt Dog brings a lot of people over into that section. They're bigger now, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they're out of state too, so they've got that connection.
There's a Dirt Dog downstairs right here, and somebody told me how much money that they make downstairs. It was actually our landlord Joshi, and oh my God, they kill it.
You're getting the hot dog game.
Yeah, the hot dog game is a real game. Like, they are murdering it down there, making money.
Good for them, man. They've been hustling.
Oh, I love it, man. I love to see people kill it. So, but didn't you have another one on like the South Strip?
No, the one nearest there would be the Southwest. Warm Springs.
Right on.
And Cimarron.
Sweet. Cool. So yeah, what's the long? Well, actually, how'd you get into like the bar game? Like you mentioned before that you were doing commercial real estate and stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me about your life, man.
I grew up in commercial real estate and development, and got to see a lot of what happens in business and how operations work in the day-to-day. And that was kind of my MBA in business. And knowing that I'd always wanted to get into the hospitality industry in 2007 or 8, like right around the crash, I liquidated assets, and that's when I took a couple years to travel and gain some references, and came back in 2009 and found the location in like the worst economic depression since the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And knew that if you put out a good enough product, our family's been here since the 50s. We have a reputable name that we stood behind, and we were close to the 215. And doing right by your customers, they'll do right by you. And that was kind of the intention of taking the risk and opening in those conditions. Now we got to benefit from a second generation space that someone went out in, but we completely renovated, gutted. It had oak wood and low grade carpet and some really bad.
What was the name of the place before that?
It was Indigo Joe's and then Shark Tank.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. It was a couple places, but we just having the intentions of wanting to give back to the community. I mean, when we opened, we were an immediate sponsor of the Rebels, of UNLV basketball, UNLV athletics. We were the home of the Rebels on the Road for 6 years. When the Knights came, we were the first official Golden Knights bar. We're one of the first official partners that sponsored their reality show with Cox Communications.
They've got a reality show?
Before they came in 2017, they did a reality show with Cox Communication in downtown Summerlin. Finley and ourselves, Born and Raised, sponsored it. And then when before they announced the franchise, we hosted an event to sell the remaining ticket sales to get over 10,000 season ticket sales. When we did that, then when they announced the franchise at the NHL Awards at the Hard Rock, we went down with Foley and his guys, and they awarded the franchise to them during the awards, and then we went back to Born and Raised and partied.
There we go.
Yeah,
nice.
It was one of the cooler nights. We had the logo printed before anyone else. And then we rode with them for the first 2 years in a really unique, close partnership, close-knit way of supporting them and doing so many events at Born and Raised and with the Golden Knights Foundation. And it's really a big reason for doing what we do. We give back to Veterans Village. We give to Opportunity Village, to Shade Tree Shelter. We've hosted events and been as philanthropic as possible.
That's a rare thing to see in the like.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
But it's important to us, and this is our community.
Yeah.
Especially when you have people that rely on the culture and experiences that are possible. I mean, it's a big responsibility. We have the privilege of serving people that think about us and think about what they want to do.
Yeah.
And they get to think about, they made that, or they did that, or I got to feel that. And you kind of almost get that visceral effect that you remember and you want to go back there. I mean, that's powerful. That's what motivates us every day.
Yeah. So you've got a would you describe them as like local bars?
Sure.
Yeah. What kind of clientele do you usually I want to say go after, but who's your target demographic, and what do you do to market to them? Your brand speaks for itself, by the way. Like, you know, I think that
Sure.
like I said, your food, like the food and the vibe. If you guys have never been to a Born and Raised in Las Vegas, there are legitimately good bars, and the food is so good. And that left a note on me, like this is a place that I would easily come back
Cool.
to.
Thank you.
So the brand is good, but like not every, you have to go there to know that, or
Yes.
or get a referral, right?
Yes.
So like, what do you do for marketing?
Well, we kicked it off with the traditional radio. We did a lot with ESPN, had a great partnership with ESPN. With Coors, had a great partnership with Coors that led into our UNLV partnership. We teamed up with a lot of locals and those that we had relationships with that were gracious enough to kind of put us on their back and show the community when we came out of the gate that we were solid, that they could count on us, that we were lasting and had the right intentions, and we're able to utilize those that believed in us. Mm-hmm. And that led into these long-lasting partnerships that we created, a home of the Rebels on the road that never existed. UNLV fans didn't really have a place that they could go. You could feel the camaraderie. You knew what the intention was. You knew everyone that was there was for the same reason, and that was rooting for UNLV athletics. That was rooting for Las Vegas. Yeah. That was the lineage of what we have in UNLV with the 90s and the Rebel basketball, and LJ still comes into Born and Raised, and Tark, we had a chair stitched after his name that he would come in and hang out and watch football. Nice. So we were able to create that foundation that people still do and follow today. And with having those partnerships and having a presence and putting our money where our mouth is and being a top sponsor of UNLV for 10 years, doing a sponsorship with the Knights the first year they came. Before they came, when people told me I was nuts to support them, I was nuts to believe in hockey in Vegas. I didn't know anything about hockey.
Don't listen to people,
I knew nothing about hockey, but I knew a professional team in Vegas that they could have put anything here and we would have supported it.
Totally.
Now, thankfully, they put the Knights and Foley and their team and what they were able to do, and they executed it beyond our even comprehension. But I didn't know the winning of the team, but I knew we would get behind it. And people didn't believe it. They didn't see it. They thought that we were making a bad decision. People weren't even playing the games.
Man,
people forget. In 2017, when the Knights started, bars weren't playing games. Bars weren't playing audio. Like, people had to ask. No one cared. It was the naivety of the industry for whatever reason, and not speaking bad about anyone, but we understood. We wanted to support, and we put our money where our mouth is in a 6-figure sponsorship for a while in a lot of capacities that people didn't have the balls.
Here's a pretty forward question. Do you think that you actually like see an ROI on doing a sponsorship like that? You put 6 figures into this. Yeah.
A great one. Yeah. We were the run from when people finally understood that there's something there, and we're pretty jaded fans. We expect a lot here, and they were winning, and it picked up after the
playoffs, I'm sure.
All-Star break. After the All-Star break, the second half, then people were starting to turn the TVs on, but we had already built the fan base and proven who we were. We were, every day was something, an away game or a home game, and then running into the playoffs. And we sponsored a playoff game that had 20,000 towels with our logos on it. Had a thank you on the Jumbotron in the Western Conference Finals, like Game 3. We did all that. But by doing that, the Knights had our back. They supported us. We had the night at our bars. We knighted people when he was there, pulled the knife out of the sword out of the rock, and actually knighted people.
Dude, that's such a good like ritual for people to go through. So I was over at my dad's place in Toronto, and I'm clearing out some boxes, and I reached into a box and I pulled out a certificate that said that I had been screeched in. Are you familiar with what getting screeched in is?
Is it have to do with Saved by the Bell?
No, no, it doesn't. It's in Newfoundland, in St. John's, Newfoundland, they have this like rum or whiskey called Screech, and then you have to like go in and take a shot of this stuff and like kiss a fish, and then like, they'll like it's a whole bunch of Newfies that like are like all about this, but it happens at every spot.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, but they give you this certificate, and you're like, hey, you've been screeched in. So like just doing stuff like that, you got to give a certificate, man.
We'll do that next time.
Certificates.
It's the camaraderie around it. It's the knowing that almost like being in the trenches of the guy next to you has the same intent. I mean, they support the same thing. They want the same thing.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. We actually have a Newfoundland as a dog.
Oh, nice.
A Newfie. Yeah.
Oh, you personally?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you know that I have a dog grooming company?
No.
Yeah, I've got a dog grooming
How
company.
many more companies do you have?
Man. Yeah, no, I got a company called Furryland. I do mobile pet grooming, and we're like
here.
Here, I actually franchise it. So we're actually in 50 something cities. Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's cool.
Yeah, but Newfies are expensive.
Dude, we use a mobile groomer.
Yeah.
And
what do you pay? Wouldn't surprise me if it's like I'd say a low end would probably be 180 and high end would probably be 280.
Yeah, I would say a couple hundred.
Yeah, I'd say it's quite the business. I like those vans though, man.
It's pretty heavy what it looks like.
Yeah,
like the process and her chasing my dog and trying to get her in the van and
What part of town you live in?
Summerlin.
Nice, right on. I moved to the Southwest a little while ago. I like it out there.
The Uncommons,
dude,
really
so
cool,
nice.
Really cool.
Yeah.
A close friend of ours opened the Sundry in there. And it's one of the cooler places in Vegas.
Sundry,
the food hall,
super cool.
Killed it. They're
cool.
They're top notch.
Yeah. For those that aren't familiar, it's got a really cool concept. So I guess it's kind of like a mess hall style. Like,
it is.
Like vibe, and everything's QR code. You go on, you scan the QR code, and then you can pick from like 10 different restaurants.
It's 15.
15, there you go. 15 different restaurants. Everything from like Greek food to Indian food to
and like celeb chefs, like top line in Vegas. And that's the genius behind it is what they did was they made it one transaction through one ordering system through one POS. And that was the genius behind the multi-concept is because it's no inconvenience to the consumer as outside of going to a regular restaurant.
Yeah.
They have 2 regular restaurants in there and then 13 different concepts in addition to the hydrogen oxide ice cream, the donuts in there from Saint Henri. They do a cool thing.
Yeah, I had one of the donuts in there recently. They came out and just brought a complimentary. They're like, "Hey, try this," and we're like, "All right." We tried it. It was super good.
Yeah, they're super cool. They're sweethearts over there.
Yeah, the Uncommons is man, it's popping off there. I really like it over there.
Yeah, great concepts.
Yeah. I was actually like being like, oh, maybe I can open up an office here, but that's not really realistic. It's like minimum like 10,000 square feet at like it's only like Fortune 100 companies that are going into the major office spaces over there. Like, but
no, they're big boys over there.
Yeah, I know. DraftKings over there.
Yeah.
And then like CBRE and like all that type of stuff. So,
Merrill Lynch, I think, is over there.
Yeah, that whole Southwest area with Durango opening up as well. Man.
Yeah, they got some cool stuff.
I know. Hopefully my property value goes up.
It should, and that's the thing is that it's that kind of cluster effect. Everyone around there gets to benefit off of what is drawn there. A lot of people get nervous about competition and losing customers,
No.
and that's a reality. But if you serve a good enough product that you get to add to that value, that people get to reciprocate and go back and forth and bounce around.
Yeah, I do not subscribe to that mentality at all, man. I believe that like what's the term? Rising tide to
Raises all ships. Yeah.
So I think that the more cool stuff that you have in an area, the better. Like for sure. And like I also really believe in places, right? Like you mentioned how many businesses do you have? I've had a lot of businesses throughout my career, and World Crawl, my club crawl business. So we were in a whole bunch of different cities at one point. Like I originally started up in Whistler, Canada, came down here to Vegas in 11, and then opened up in LA, opened up in San Diego, opened up in Miami. And then when times got, I sold Whistler, but when times got tough during the pandemic, and we put California and Florida on hiatus, they're still on indefinite hiatus. The reason being is like I look at the locations. Do I really believe in them like I used to? Because I believed in San Diego when I opened it in 2013. I was like a believer of Gaslamp. You spend time in San Diego?
I mean, enough to know the areas, but not
like Gaslamp and
specifics.
Pacific Beach is where
Sure,
we were operating, right? So I like believed in those areas a lot, and they were popping off, and they popped off for years, and then things started to change in San Diego. Rents got expensive. The young people kind of moved away.
A ton of homeless.
The homeless is a real issue. There was a Hep C outbreak because all the homeless. Like that basically just means that there's human waste. In the streets.
You can't even walk around.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, and similar things happen to Miami Beach. Like Miami Beach, it still has its amazing pockets, and I really have a lot of love for Miami Beach. But it's got some areas that are like, let's just put it like this: my staff got robbed at gunpoint a couple times in Miami Beach. Yeah, while working broad daylight on like Collins or Washington. Like, what the hell? So it's hard to believe in that spots. But like if you look at here in where Raised by Wolves is right now, this bar that we're in right now, the Neonopolis and Fremont. Like I believe in Fremont. Like it is popping off, and it's just gonna get better. And like I don't worry about competition. There's a club Revelation that's going in next door. I'm like, I don't see that as competition. I see that as like, that's awesome.
It's an enhancer.
It's an enhancer. Upstairs there's stuff going on. Like these are enhancers. So there's enough for everybody. I think it saddens me when like I see business owners like constantly look at everyone around them like competition. Of course, like there's a little bit of competition here and there, but if you do a good job, like it'll show up in your bank balance.
Yeah,
it'll
believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, believe in what you're doing. Like you were saying about how you support the community. Like that's just I've never heard that before. Like I've not from a bar owner. I haven't heard somebody talk about supporting a community like you just did. Like that speaks so much. And for anybody hearing this, like that's more reason to go to your spot as opposed to like Dottie's or whatever, right? So
yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. What yeah, man, like what is it that you got on the horizon? Like what do you think about on a daily basis as the business owner of what to do next? Like where are you at in your career cycle?
Well, right now is a really weird and different time with the market conditions, inflation, interest rates.
Are you trying to stabilize right now?
We're in like so many different ways. It's people are they have less discretionary
Yeah.
spending. They and even myself and my family,
For
like
sure.
you're doing things differently because there's slowdown. Our stuff is down from last year, and like our delivery's down, and that's indicative of people being
More frugal.
conscious
Yeah,
about what they're spending. And when you order delivery, it's usually you're not really checking prices or concerned much, but it's a want, not a need. And during these times, you cut your wants and focus on your needs, and that's kind of what we're doing. Ironically, the same time as expanding, but I wouldn't recommend unless you have like a ton of capital to do it this way. We didn't by choice, but we grind, and we've grinded for a long time. We opened in 2010. We've been through the pandemic and have seen a ton between then and now.
Yeah.
But our focus right now is getting our fourth and stabilizing, so we can build back up what we've spent, what we've put out, to get these two open in 12 months of each other, 11 months.
Yeah.
And that's my focus right now, is the health of the business, and what that requires is effectiveness and efficiency, and going and seeing what is a way to do this or a way to do that ensures the success of our business, and the adjustments needed with inflation, and what we've combed through our menus and taken off high-priced items and made adjustments and printed menus twice in the same month, just because we needed to change pricing and being able to adjust to the market or absorb what's there. And our thresholds, I mean, we can't do much. There's a tolerance within the market, so it's a fine line we have to follow and balance. And that's really our focus now, is getting for and stabilizing with operating as efficiently and effectively as possible. And a buddy of mine and I were talking, and he talked about, these are the times when you make changes, and the changes you make are what's ended up being best for the company over the next 10 years. There's just ebbs and flows, and that's been in my adult and professional life a bunch. We've had highs and lows and market adjustments. And
you seen it like this before, though?
Weird like this? No. I mean, 2 wars, possibly another, inflation. I mean, you just hear from the older generation, like the 80s, this is wild as hell.
Yeah.
And that's what, it's looking like.
I'm seeing that as well with my businesses. So, some are cushioned more than others, but my stuff in like my club crawl business is we're seeing effects on it for sure. And it's so weird. Like, I know that you have more of a local clientele. My club crawl stuff, that's tourist in Vegas, right? And it's such a weird thing to see. Like, we've got the tourists in Vegas are they're here, but like it's a different crew. It's like not the same people here now that it was 5 years ago. Yeah, it's very, very different.
2019 up until the March of 2020, it was different than it is now.
Yeah,
and it's either people's outlook or people's paradigms shifting from staying at home and shifting in a way of whatever that lasting effect has had that's been a negative impact. It's weird to try to psychologically and sociologically like dissect.
I know I've pontificated on this quite a bit as like, is it like it's easy to be like, it's the kids, like the kids are different, like, but is it really? Like,
No, we were those kids at one time. I mean, it's like what I'm learning is I remember everyone saying that, our generation or this generation or that, and then I'm saying it now, and I was the same one that was being said about. So yeah, I don't think I don't know, but I can tell you the labor force.
Yeah.
And the work ethic.
Yeah.
And my mom was literally at Target this week, and the checkout, like live person checkouts, were shut off. There were two people standing there. Both said that they were off. Everyone was being funneled to self checkout, and the guy that was standing there, my mom asked, like, this is like what we have to do now, and when there's other people just standing there, and there's like 15 people deep is the problem.
Yeah.
The guy was like, well, no one decided to show up to work today. Like that's Target's response on their shitty service. Like that's their if that happened at any time, if that was like, well, we're not serving at the bar because bartenders didn't show up today, like that's not comprehensible. That was the answer for Target, the Fortune 500 company.
Is it Target's fault or is it the workers' fault? Like,
ultimately, I mean, there's got to be Target's fault. I mean, that's what is
they're holding the buck at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like at your place here. Ultimately, you're responsible regardless of what happens. But if your culture and your management and your leadership, like if that's okay.
Yeah, incentivizing people to not show up to work.
I mean, it's just it's weird, and that's just like almost like acceptable or okay or like status quo.
Yeah, that 1 year of like of free money and chilling.
Apparently, that's like still going around or something, because people are like it's not been the same. It's not. There was a demand to want to work. There was a demand for people's jobs. There was resumes on top of resumes that you could have the opportunity of putting your best foot forward with the best people in place. And you don't have resumes on top of resumes anymore.
Yeah. How do you hire for your crew?
Just the traditional
Indeed
outlets of Indeed, social media, word of mouth, and we're for people that are here for you now. But like for Centennial, it's just like an open call that we just hit every platform and have a 6-hour window, a few days, and just bang it out like that.
Are you guys active on social media?
Yeah. I mean, as much as you can without being redundant or annoying. Or,
oh, dude, I have the most redundant social media.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Dude, and there's like so many weird rules.
We like for Raised by Wolves, we post the same thing again and 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 again. We're drilling it in people's heads, but at least people know. They're like, oh, you guys got that open bar party on Fridays. And like, it's like, yep. At least you know now.
Yeah, exactly.
If you didn't know, follow our social media and we'll show you. But you know, it's crazy, man. I've told this on the podcast before, but like we were doing okay after we opened up, and then we went viral one day, and business tripled overnight, and it was like pretty much. And we stayed consistent with our messaging on social media, but that was it.
And how that happens,
we were posting regularly. So we have for my brands, I have a full-time. She's our, I want to say just a social media girl. She's basically a videographer and editor. And she does content. She does on-camera stuff as well. She's really good, Chelsea. And believe me, man, I went through a handful of social media experts, and you post social media on Indeed, and like everyone. You've got like 50,000 resumes.
Yeah.
And like people will like totally BS on their resumes. You bring them in and then they can like talk a good game. And then you're like, okay, I need like 15 reels a week and like blah, blah, blah. And like the content that they produce is just like, mwah. But so I cycled through a fair amount of social media girls, and then we found Chelsea. She like knocked it out of the park, and yeah, we just had like a mandate. We're like, yo, make sure you're posting regularly. You know, I'd coach her and stuff like that, and ideas, and we'd work. And she works fast as well. I'm you know, you as an entrepreneur would know, like, you got to be fast. Shit's got to get done. Like you got to move. So. Yeah, we were posting regularly, and we were posting for a couple months, and then one day just TikTok was like 300,000 views, and we're like, there we go. And then the next day we were packed, and it was like Thursday, and we're like, yeah.
You know, it's social media is challenging. I have 4 kids, and it just scares the hell out of me. Yes. Yeah. And it's the coolest thing, but they're getting older, and it's, you know, and that's, you know, you want to just trash social media for, you know, the negative effects, but the necessary evil in my opinion, and not to knock those that it's their business, but they do a great job at it. I know it's an art, and benefiting in ways like that is the beauty of it. And that's what I support. I enjoy it, the negativity that it brings, and the similarities to drugs and alcohol with the endorphins and the serotonins and those bumps and all that. But when it works in ways that's able to like benefit people positively, then it's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely probably about like 2 years ago, maybe like a year ago, I started to it was about a year ago. I started to really personally embrace social media
and like understanding it more.
I started posting regularly just on my stuff, and you know, analyzing it and thinking about it more. And like I've always known it's been important for business. I guess it was maybe like closer to 2 years ago that I was like, okay, no, seriously, I have to get serious about it. And that's it works. There's a couple like so Chelsea, our social media guru, she works on a few different brands under like my umbrella, and like we haven't cracked all the brands. Like we cracked Raised by Wolves, that's cool, like we got that viral, and then we've popped off viral a few times. When you find something that if you find a video that goes viral, it's because it's good. Now the algorithm basically says if you have a good video and people want to watch it, like it'll hook people in. They'll you know, get that endorphin rush. They'll watch it through, you know, like you want 60% to 100% of the video being watched, and they don't even need to necessarily engage with it, but it's the watch time.
Sure.
And so because have you ever watched somebody scroll through TikTok? TikTok is crazy. It is nuts, man. I've like stood over people's shoulders as they go through TikTok, and I'm like, hey, check out my TikTok. And they'll like go on my TikTok, and when they are scrolling, they'll get to a video that I'm like, oh, this is a video I really want them to see. And they'll literally watch it for 1.2 seconds before they make a decision to scroll on to the next one. And like you watch that and you're just like, that's how fast you have to be to catch people's attention.
In that 1.2 seconds are you able to do?
And what's crazy
to catch them?
Specifically about TikTok is that when they scroll onto the next video, it's like almost already playing before it even gets.
And that's how
it is crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. I forget where I was going with this, but yeah, like it's
TikTok.
Yeah,
we've had a few posts go viral, unlocked, managed our social media, and a million or 2 million views, and
nice.
Saw people come through. It was one of our hangover burritos or something like that. And it was guys from the NFR that were leaving town.
There we
Cowboys
go.
just came and just hit it.
NFR, man, those
it
guys
was cool.
are something else.
Yeah, so I've seen the effects of ways that the power of what that brings.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that's that we've seen that's been cool lately is we've been working with like just a couple micro influencers. And that's really effective, man, because that's the reach. That's where everybody's on social media now. Like, I hate to say that I do it as well. You know, like
it's necessary. That's the thing.
It is necessary, but like, you know,
for business,
for sure. Yeah, as a business owner, it's necessary. But like, just like me personally, like because I post, I also watch, and I like, you know, it is easy to blow 90 minutes out of your day, and like I'm busy. I don't have 90 minutes to just like throw away, but it's always the like 3 minutes in between, like, you know, waiting for someone to walk in the door, waiting for a call to start, waiting for a meeting, or like someone goes on like you're on a Zoom call and they're on like a 5-minute diatribe and you're like la 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 la, and you pull out your phone and start scrolling. Yeah, right. So, but yeah, it's crazy how it's you know gotten to that point.
It trips me out that in 2010 when we opened, like it wasn't anything. No. Facebook, I think, but it wasn't like it wasn't really anything. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't a platform that was utilized to grow your business. And then all of a sudden, and now with TikTok, and I mean, I don't even know all of them.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see. So I met with a guy, Jules. He's the host of the Vegas Confessionals podcast, which is like they just talk about. These are just guys that go to Vegas and like have fun and just talk about all the cool stuff. But Jules is I think he's one of the hosts, and he is one of the hosts, and he's awesome. And he was talking to me about Twitter, and I don't really care about Twitter. Like me personally, I don't really care about Twitter. Sometimes since Elon Musk took it over, I find it's like it's more amusing than it was before. But so I'll open it up sometimes a little bit more so since Elon Musk took it over. But Jules explained to me, he's like, you have got to be on Twitter, and you have to be active on Twitter. And I was like, do you really? Like, but so just today I went and we were active on Twitter for my club crawl in like 2017, 2018. And someone from my team was running it. And it turns out my company actually has like 3,500 tweets. Like we were very active on it. So that's good. But now on Twitter, you can see the stats of like how many people viewed your post, how many people engaged with your post, and you couldn't see that before. So you were just like, you posted and if somebody likes it, they like it, but you couldn't see how many times it was viewed. I went back and I looked at the amount of views on my posts, and it's like tens of thousands. But there was very little engagement, but still tens of thousands of people were looking at these active at Twitter when I was being
not even
knowing.
knowing.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna commit to like being more active on that stuff now.
Yeah, and I guess you got to just post daily is what you have to commit to.
Yeah, posting regularly is a bitch. It's a serious bitch, but yeah, it's like, but at the same time, it's the leverage that you need. Like Scottie, how many people can you talk to in a day?
Not as many.
How many people could see your posts in a day?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, that's what it's about.
I dig it because of the platform when it's utilized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I dig Elon Musk. I think he's a genius.
Me too, man. I'm a fan.
Me too.
I'm a fan. Yeah. It's funny to see people kind of like bag on the guy. Like, one of my close friends was like, I left Twitter as soon as Elon took over. I was like, that's a little drastic. Like, what's your problem? And he had some justification of he's like some sort of narcissistic, but yada yada. And then you see all these haters coming out, but like, well, come on, man.
Yeah,
like the guys.
One of the smartest, most successful, like groundbreaking engineering inventor, like in our lifetime, is narcissistic. Okay, if he is, great, but what he's done sure is not.
Yeah. Somebody, actually, I think it was on Twitter. Somebody posted today, like, is being narcissistic good?
No.
I had a business partner once who was a narcissist and destructive,
wild,
not cool, not cool at all.
Yeah,
one of the scariest individuals, like as far as psychology goes,
wow.
that I've ever met in my life. No, not one of, definitively the. And man, I don't like speaking bad about people. I always see the good in people. And he was a hard worker for sure, and was innovative, but so destructive, and all relationships around him just tore it all down.
It's crazy how blind people are, and it's, unfortunately it's a diagnosis. But I measure things and people's intent. It's what I pay attention to, because my intentions, I know what those are, and I hope that others have the same. But you can make mistakes. That's how we learn. You can do something that probably wasn't the best decision, but it is based on your intentions. If your intentions of wanting to make the right decision, but you made the wrong decision, that's okay. When your intentions are clouded or not, and you're being mindful of them, or you have ill intent. I mean, it comes out eventually. Those that aren't, and those that don't are the scary ones. But it's really how we hire, and really how we try and show to our team what our intentions are, and teaching how their intentions and how we align our intentions, and that's kind of where they're on the forefront of doing so.
Do you ever try and like help your staff that go lost? Like, where do you draw the line? Like,
oh my goodness.
I know this is
not soon enough. That's for sure. We've helped plenty. I mean, we've done everything we can. We say, you'll fire yourself working for us.
Right. That's a really good way to say
we're here for you. We're a family. We're trying to do the same thing. And when you buy into us and our company, and your intent is what's best for the company, which is what our intent is, we'll have your back that much greater. I mean, 10 times greater by you doing for us what we'll do for you. And it leaves people with a decision.
Yeah.
And those that buy in and their intentions are aligned, it shows.
Yeah. And
those with their intentions aligned but have struggles or have issues, like we all do, and I'm just as messed up as anyone. That happens, and that's where you can make mistakes and you can screw up. It's just what your intentions are, and that's what we help those with intent of wanting to be better, or made a mistake, but they don't want to be like that.
Yeah,
we're all for it. I mean, we've given from one end to the other. We've given money, everything.
Yeah,
and you are the ones that show that they don't want to be there.
Yeah. Man, I'm dealing with one of these situations like right now. I've got one of my staff. I'm like the last person that's going in and being like, oh, I want to give this guy a chance. I want to help him. And, you know, people are saying to me, they're like, Nick, we've done this. You know,
Yep.
we've helped him. We've done everything that we can in our power to help him, and it just doesn't get it. Doesn't
really
get it
where the
Like,
line is.
You know,
I think.
like you know, and so I'm a push. I don't want to say pushover, but like I've got a big heart for that
Soft.
stuff. Yeah, and like, you know, I want to help the guy, but like, you know, when you've got I can sense it. You know,
Yeah.
especially when like, you know, drugs are involved or
Yeah.
like alcohol
Yeah.
and hardcore and like, you
We've
know,
had them all. Heroin addicts that have wanted help, gotten help, and day to day that it just you see it happens. But a big thing is when you've tried everything, or when what we try to do is set people up for success, and when they're not doing what they should be, or they're not doing and working to the best of their ability, we look at ourselves and did we give them every tool?
Right.
Did we give them opportunities?
Yeah.
Did we talk to them? And when you check off all those boxes and it's still like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I think that's our line is
Yeah.
when it's negatively affecting us, it's negatively affecting those around them, because
Yeah.
it quickly turns when
it's-
nothing happens and it's dissension, just like
yeah,
a lot.
gets toxic real quick.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's your responsibility to maintain that, and especially when you want the buy-in from your staff and the trust and the familiarity of having your back and they having your back, and it's important that they see you being conscious of that.
Yeah,
and
making the
being
right
mindful.
decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it erodes quickly, and then there's resentment, and it's resentment we call as our silent assassin, and it
Yeah.
builds and it builds. And we have leadership training, we have executive leadership training
Nice.
6 times a year, management
6 times a year.
4 times.
What does that look like?
We have a leadership coach and company, DJ Allen and Jay Ship from X's and O's of Success. And he has built over the years for us a born and raised university. So we've done annually this training of how to be better personally and professionally.
Dude, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we want those that come and work for us to be better when and if they leave. If you come and work for us and you end up leaving and it's something that you choose is what's best for you and your family,
Yep.
then we support it. And I want you to be able to look back and say, I improved. I'm a better person having worked there.
Yeah.
Both personally and professionally. And when you can be better personally at home and you're reminded of kind of what's important, and you know, it's not anything groundbreaking. It's just reminders of what's important, and it's how you want to be, how you want to show up. And as a leader and a business owner, it's your responsibility to make those around you better.
Yeah, that's so good,
just
man.
what we believe in.
I love that. You know, I used to do stuff like that more so than I do now. I have a lot of balls in the air, and I think I've you know, let some of my my responsibilities as a leader step aside. And
It's hard because you have what's in front of you so much, especially with the multifaceted kind of umbrella you have.
Yeah.
It's,
No excuse though. No excuse. I mean, like, you know, I think that this has kind of dawned on me. You know, I was at a crux a little while ago where I had to, you know, decide like, am I going to stick with it, or am I going to, you know, put this business aside and focus on other ones?
Sure.
And you know, when you make the decision to go forward with it, you know, you got to give it your all.
Sure.
You can only do one thing at a time though. But you know, I truly believe that, you know, raising better leaders and you know, making people better, not only in your organization, but like as individuals, and, you know, being better people, members of society.
Yeah.
Like that's that's the leadership that's required, and like that just put a little bit of a fire under my ass.
Cool, man. I'll get you his info, and he does. I can't remember the name, but he does like 6-week trainings and stuff like that.
Do you like go away for this stuff, or is it
no,
just
here.
Like
It's here, but it's like 8 hours. Once every 6 weeks for 6 months or 8 months, and then Rising Leaders, it's called.
Rising Leaders, nice.
And a lot of companies, big companies, small companies, send their execs or managers or staff to go through it.
Yeah. What I have been kind of drilling my or refocusing on over the last little bit is turning my sales team into like sharks. Like, I don't know if you know the model that I do with the club crawl, but it's basically like we are it's a sales team out there that are on the strip, and like as you walk by us, we'll be like, hey guys, what are your party plans? And then we will sell you a club crawl. Like,
I've witnessed it happen.
Yeah,
so the closing of quite a few.
Yeah. So we used to come to your bar, right?
Yeah.
So I love sales training. I love that stuff, man. Like I got my start in Australia and door-to-door.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop.
You know what I used to sell? I used to sell when I did door-to-door in Australia. That wasn't my first sales job. That's the first one that I'll talk about publicly. But it's
not where you honed your craft.
So in Australia, I was doing door-to-door sales. I was selling a stencil that you like paint on your driveway to make it look like you have cobblestone. Yeah, and like yeah. So that was the thing. And like I was a backpacker at the time. Well, you said you traveled. Where'd you go to?
I traveled just around like New York, Chicago.
Stayed in the States, though. Yeah. So I when I traveled, I went to Australia and Asia, and so I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, and Australia was where my home base was, and that was like the brokest I'd ever been in my life, and I just got odd jobs. I was a web developer back in Toronto, so I always had like money and I was doing good. But then took my savings, traveled, spent my savings, and then I had no money. And so the first time I ever had to go get odd jobs, and the first one I got was this door-to-door sales doing the driveway stencils. And they'd drop us off, and we'd have to like walk around and like knock on doors and be like, hey, I remember when it like it clicked for me, it was a big game changer. I was like, I was able to really, I could, just by the way I would approach people when they opened the door, I could see whether or not I was going to get them to sign up or not. Like, I'd go and be like, hey, blah, 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 talk off the script, and they would just like phase out. Or I could be like, you have been selected for like, because your driveway is perfect for this product. And people would be like, oh, me? Really? Oh, okay, sweet. Anyway, so I love sales.
So your pitch was when it clicked
as
to what you needed to sell.
Yeah. So I love sales. I love training sales and stuff like that. And you know what? Actually, on the sales side of things, I can go on for a long time about sales. But like, I remember, so I graduated university with like, okay, first year university, straight D minuses, like terrible. Then I had straight C's, and then I had my third year, I had straight C pluses. And then on my graduating year, I had straight B minuses. And then I went and I was working, and I was like, I might want to go to grad school, so I want to go back for a semester and pull my grades up. So I go back and I take a bunch of bird courses. Like I took a marketing and e-marketing, acting, and speech. Speech, I was like, this is like the birdest of all bird courses, right? So I just wanted straight A's, which I did get, by the way.
Impressive.
But for me, I'd never gotten straight A's before. But anyway, I digress. So this speech course, I remember I think I had to do like the speech where Roosevelt just declared that there were like World War II was happening and the States was involved in Pearl Harbor and all that stuff, and I had to recite that speech. And I practiced it and I practiced it and I performed it. I thought I nailed it, and my my professor was like no, that's like a C+. I'm like, what the hell? Like that was like I nailed that. Like that was amazing. She's like, that wasn't you. Like, I know this was a Roosevelt speech, but I didn't believe you. You weren't talking. And I was like, okay, I think I get it. And so then my next like final was I had to describe. I had to write my own speech, and I had to get an A+ on this. Otherwise, I wasn't going to get an A. And she's like, write whatever you want and talk about whatever you want. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I remember I actually called my professor like the week before and was like, I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say. Like, what do I talk? She's like, just whatever. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then finally I decided that I was going to talk about my backpacking trip that I was about to take as soon as I finish this course, which was my Australia and Asia. And so I had it all mapped out. I was going to go land in Sydney and go up to Surfers Paradise, and then I was going to fly into Bangkok, and then I was going to go over to Phnom Penh, and then I was going to spend time in Ho Chi Minh, and I had this whole thing mapped out. And so I wrote this speech that was talking about the trip I was going to do. I made it super interesting, and I'm like, I'm in college, right? So it's like college kids and stuff like that. But I let my personality shine through. Like, this was me talking, right? And I had everybody like super interested in the speech that I was going to do, and I aced it. I got my A+, and she's like, that was good. So take that lesson, that you need to be yourself. And then, so when I was doing this door-to-door sales, at first when I was doing this script, it wasn't resonating with people. But as soon, and then I got another sales job, and I was doing a script, and this was a hard one. I was selling horse racing tips over the phone for $25,000. Bro. So, but with this one, like I was doing this script, not making any sales. But then as soon as I was able to let my personality come out and shine through, then people are like, oh, Nick is talking to me, and he thinks that this is good, and I believe Nick, and I'm buying. And that is one of the most valuable like lessons in sales that I ever learned. Mm-hmm. So,
it's funny you talked about not reopening Miami and San Diego because you don't believe in it. Like, you believed in the markets.
Right.
There's something, the way I've felt with conviction, what I've done, and it's what I believe in, and I don't have that conviction with something I've done, and I think when you can show that you believe in it, that it's something that is spoken with like real confidence, then it touches people in different ways that, it's almost relatable, or it's comfortable, or it's, people need to be led. Like, it's almost like, I can
100%.
Just coddle you into this, and people just like melt into what you're saying if you have conviction.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Times get tough on your bar, and like you have a choice. You can be like, I don't know if we'll see the other side of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll see what happens. Versus like, we're gonna get through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
we did that for COVID. I mean, shit, people were not understanding what was happening, and people crying and I just blah blah blah, my family, and it needed to be known that this wasn't the end, that we were gonna get through it, that sticking together and leaning on one another and supporting one another, it reassured people.
Yeah.
And as a leader, or those that people look at for reassurance and confidence, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And you
leadership.
can half-ass it into, well, I hope. You hope. So I pay my mortgage by your hope.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that right now because times are tough, and like you and I both have decisions to make. We're gonna hope, or we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
and it shows a lot when you're challenged with these times, and how you come out on the other side. And I have made so many mistakes and not handled things the best way, and read or heard that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to screw up, but it's what you do after. It's how you hold yourself accountable, or how you present yourself after doing so.
Yeah, I'm feeling that right now, man.
Yeah,
I'm feeling that. Right on. Well, tell people about how they can get to your bar and give us a pitch.
We're kind of on four corners now. We'll be opening next month, our 4th. We have private rooms. bornandraisedlv.com is our website. Excuse me. We have events manager that handles our bookings, our holiday seasons, our busy season.
Nice.
We're evolving as much as possible. We're in opening our new location. We're taking on the responsibility of showing what's capable, or what you're capable of, showing what's possible, like we did 13 years ago, and how we can serve the customer and the experiences we can create. And
nice.
Yeah, we're excited. We're your home away from home, and it's what we want to be. It's what we're here for. And
you show the games.
Always be a part of our family, and we show the games.
Nice, awesome, and like I said, some of the best food. Anything else you wanted to chat about?
No, man. I appreciate you having me. Go Knights,
man. Yeah, go Knights, man. I'm a Canadian. So I feel that, man. Right on. Awesome, Scottie. That was awesome. Thanks so much for coming through, and yeah, check out Born and Raised. It's an awesome spot, and they've got really good food, and they've got the games and cool bartenders and cold drinks. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Okay.